It's Tuesday, September 25th, and this is your Barbados Today Evening News Update. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. A warm welcome to you. Whole Strain, Minister in the Ministry of Finance Ryan Straughn, today appealed for citizens to bear with the government as it undertakes what he calls the most comprehensive debt restructuring exercise the country has ever undertaken. Speaking during debate on the Debt Holder Restructuring Bill 2018, Straughn maintained the exercise was the bitter medicine Barbados needed now to return to economic growth. Under the debt restructuring plan, government is offering to swap the vast majority of loans for new debt instruments. It has also proposed a haircut to creditors and stretched the length of time over which they will be repaid. Straughn acknowledged today that it was painful and a difficult exercise, but he stressed it is in the country's best interest.
The time value of money, because inflation, sir, increased so significantly under the last administration, sir, and because people's incomes have stagnated in a way that we have never experienced in our lifetimes as Barbadians. Because you're now going to be getting back your principal payment, sir, in pieces, in strips, as we call it, it actually means even though we're asking you to make a sacrifice on the interest component, the time value of money means, sir, that the $100,000, sir, that you would have invested and you would have asked that you would expect to get back in 15 years or 20 years or 30 years. The truth is, sir, that by the time you get back the money, what it could actually buy would have been a lot less. So because we're giving you a piece of the money going forward, it actually means, sir, that the value of the money that you are getting is increasing.
Meanwhile, opposition leader Bishop Joseph Atherley demanded that respect be shown to his office. In his contribution to the bill, Atherley complained that he received the bill moments before Parliament began. He said the move was improper, insisting that the mere Motley administration was capable of doing better. Atherley said given the serious nature of the bill, it should have been treated more seriously, particularly when Barbadians are about to face significant pain.
This is a story of something called a 6% primary balance, which this government is committing itself to achieve over the next 4 years. 6% primary surplus with respect to the way we handle our financial affairs. That is the story of pain, Mr. Speaker. No amount of reflecting upon the misdeeds of the last administration will help the Barbadian public to understand going forward the degree of pain to which we are going to be exposed. And that is the story. The story must repeatedly be referred to as to how those who preceded you underperformed, to put it rather euphemistically. But beyond that, Barbadian public needs to hear and understand, and I said this before, perhaps in your absence, Mr. Speaker, in very clear terms, the pain that awaits us tomorrow. In fact, the nightmare began a few days ago with the exercise at the central bank and the declaration to this country that we were making arrangements in the terms with reference to these securities that are under debate here today. And Barbadians need to understand that going forward, there are going to be many painful days. And I think every opportunity this government gets to let Barbadian public understand those things in stark terms, I think it's in the interest of the country.
Childhood obesity levels in the Caribbean are at an all-time high, and serious action is needed to curb the trend. The troubling issue is under the microscope at the Childhood Obesity Prevention Conference on the way at the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Center. Community Program Specialist for the Pan American Health Organization, Dr. Patrice Lawrence Williams, this morning disclosed grim figures warning that if the current trend continues, childhood obesity will double the global average by 2030.
In 1 decade, overweight and obesity rates in preschool children changed from 6 to 14%, which is higher than the global average of 5%. Currently, 30 to 40% of all children are overweight or obese, and at the current rate, it is projected that by 2030, this number will reach to 50%. There is also noted increases in prevalence as children get older, and the risk of adult obesity is several times greater in obese children than those non-obese, and this creates a continuing spiral. Between 60% to 80% of all adults are either overweight and obese.
Meanwhile, Professor Anne St. John says the problem must be tackled at school and at home. She urged authorities to review the island's school meal program and called on parents and guardians to pay more attention to ensure children are active.
A total need for the school meal system in Barbados to review the plan repeatedly in the school meals program for the younger students, the content, portions served, and to ensure that they are not contributing to the development of overweight and obesity in children. In the non-school environment, there are influential factors contributing directly or indirectly. Some include excessive time spent on screen games, communicating by cell phone, watching TV over the recommended number of hours of 2 hours per day, and resultant reduced activity, physical activity.
Local forecasters are advising Barbadians to brace for severe weather. This evening, the Barbados Met Office said an approaching tropical wave associated with the remnants of Tropical Depression Kirk will begin to affect the island late Wednesday into Thursday. It noted that the system, which is tracking west, has been fluctuating in strength and could redevelop as it approaches Barbados and the Windward Islands late tomorrow. The Met Office says this could result in a tropical storm watch or warning for Barbados at late notice. The forecasters, however, caution that regardless of development, Barbados will experience moderate to heavy showers, periods of rain, gusty winds, and scattered thunderstorms. They have advised residents to be on alert for flash flooding and to take necessary precautions.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To the region now, Jamaica is on track to enjoy a bumper winter season. A beaming tourism minister, Edmund Bartlett, has announced that the airline has achieved a record 1.3 million aerospace seats out of the Americas. More in this report from Television Jamaica.
Following on successes in 2017 and a good start to 2018, with over 1 million stopover visitors, Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett is positive of an uptick in visitor arrivals to the country. This is compounded by what he says is a drive by his ministry to seek new markets for airlift to the nation's shores. Speaking at the opening ceremony of the Jamaica Product Exchange JPEX recently, Mr. Bartlett noted that an additional 38,000 seats will be coming from the U.S., 42,000 from Canada, along with 12,000 seats from continental Europe. He also noted that a deal is in the making to have airlifts from Paris and France to Montego Bay. The tourism minister also pointed to plans for flights which should materialize next month.
The first flight from Russia with love will come back to Montego Bay. A Dreamliner with 414 passengers And they tell me that we had to increase the number of rooms in a certain Negril hotel because the flight was selling so well.
Record tourist arrivals of 4.3 million in 2017 represented a 12.1% increase in arrivals over 2016.
On the international scene, Bill Cosby was sentenced to between 3 and 10 years in prison today for sexually assaulting a woman. 81-year-old Cosby was found guilty in April of 3 counts of aggravated indecent assault for the drugging and sexual assault of his one-time friend, Andrea Constant, at his Philadelphia home in 2004. His lawyers have already vowed to appeal the conviction.
Tuesday, after being sentenced to 3 to 10 years in a state prison for sexual assault. The judge ordered the former American pop culture icon, who was out on bail, to be jailed immediately. The 81-year-old was found guilty in April for drugging and sexually assaulting Andrea Constant some 14 years ago. She was in the courtroom for the sentencing, along with some of his accusers who were overcome by emotion.
But I'm very happy to know that Mr. Cosby will do time in prison, that he is touchable like he touched us.
And this is just going to show victims that they can make it through and that there's justice at the end. And hallelujah. Hallelujah.
The judge also fined Cosby $25,000 and ordered him to pay the costs of the prosecution, calling Cosby's crime, quote, very serious. A moving 5-page victim impact statement by Constant was also made public Tuesday, in which she said, quote, Bill Cosby took my beautiful, healthy young spirit and crushed it. He robbed me of my health and vitality, my open nature, and my trust in myself and others.
Mr. Cosby's doing great.
Cosby's lawyers have already vowed to appeal the conviction. His publicist called the proceeding, quote, one of the most racist and sexist trials in the history of the United States.
These injustices must be corrected immediately.
The judge also ruled that Cosby is a, quote, sexually violent predator under state law. That designation comes with strict requirements. Cosby will need monthly counseling and registration as a sex offender with police for the rest of his life.
And that's news. But for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostody.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Frenella Wedderburn. Good evening.